Hey guys, Dr. Justin Marcagiani here. Today's video is going to be on how much protein should I be eating per day? Really important question. We'll kind of dive into the different parameters of why you may want more or less. And we'll also go into the digestibility aspect and making sure we have complete amino acids present as well. And before we dive in, please smash the like button, put your comments down below in regards to what you're doing regarding your protein in your diet and what works best for you. All right, so let's dive in. So protein, really important, right? What's protein? Protein is nothing more than a series of amino acids. There are about 8 essential amino acids. Again, in vegetarian diets, the big ones that tend to be more missing in vegetarian diets, so they have to combine proteins, whether it's rice or beans or grains being missing, some amino acids are going to be typically methionine, lysine are going to be big ones, sometimes leucine as well, sometimes some of the branched chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, valine, those type of amino acids tend to be more missing, especially the methionine and lysine ones, and you have to rely on that kind of combining of foods. Now, methionine and lysine really important because that's an important building block for carnitine. Carnitine's vital for essentially shuttling fat into the mitochondria and burning it for fuel. Some of the branched chain amino acids are really important because branched chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, valine, they can be used for the muscle for fuel directly. A lot of times when we utilize proteins for fuel, your body's utilizing gluconeogenesis. It's taking these proteins and it's converting them into glucose, and then we're essentially burning glucose. With branched chain amino acids, there's some growth hormone benefits, and it can go right to the muscles and be used for fuel right away. So it's instead of like having to go through a conversion process, which can be a little bit more, take more energy out and be more time consuming, it can be used more as an immediate fuel source. Kind of similar to protein, creatine, right? Creatine is kind of like a similar type of, it's found primarily in animal products, but it kind of has like an energizing protein type of response where the body can use it, the muscle can use it for fuel right away, especially in those first couple of reps. Very helpful at bumping up growth hormone. So of course, a lot of your hormones are going to be cholesterol based. So if you're eating protein, a lot of times you're getting animal protein with it. So you're getting cholesterol with it. So that's very helpful for your steroid based hormones. And then your other hormones are going to be peptide based. These are going to be amino acid based. So it's really important that we have protein to build our anabolic testosterone, growth hormones, right? These hormones are also very important for anabolic growth, building muscle, right? People are usually concerned about protein and muscle so they can, one, be strong, again, have good anabolic hormones, right? If you look at all-cause mortality in most disease, right, you're going to see an inverse correlation with more muscle, less disease. And part of that is because as you get older, the more anabolic and stressed you are, you're burning up muscle. And essentially, the more sugar and crap you eat, the less muscle you're going to have. And obviously, the more estrogens or toxins in the environment, typically that's going to negatively impact muscle. So muscle is a good thing. Now, getting back to protein, I want to have complete sources of protein. I've mentioned the vegetarian sources, why they may be missing certain amino acids, methionine, lysine, some of the branched chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, valine, sometimes threonine, and even tryptophan can also be included in that list. Now, first off, tryptophan, really important for serotonin, for sleep, for mood, feeling good. So we have kind of the mood, feeling good things. We have some of the anabolic reasons for the BCAAs, the branched chain amino acids that become immediate muscle fuel. And then the next thing is how much you need. So typically, if you look at like CDC or like departments of health or NIH, a lot of studies will say 0.8, I want to say it's 0.8 milligrams or zero point 0.8, I think the term is 0.8 grams per kilogram, 0.8. So typically 0.8 grams per kilogram is about, if you take your body weight in pounds and you multiply it by about 0.35 or so. So if you were 100 pounds, that'd be like 35, 38 grams of protein on the 0.8 side. Then you have up to 1.2. That's going to be like 0.55, essentially grams per pound of body weight. So that's like a 100-pound person wanting about 55 to 60 grams. So 0.8 to 1.2 on the lower side of the fence if you convert to kilograms, all the way up to 2.2 grams per kilogram. So let me make it a little simple. So typically you're looking at about 0.4 grams per pound of body weight, all the way up to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if I'm 210 pounds, right, that converts to about 100-ish kilograms, pretty close, right? And so that's about, on the low side for me, a low side is probably about 90 to 100 grams of protein per day, all the way on the high side being 200 to 210, 220 grams of protein per day. So good rule of thumb is half your body weight in grams to your full body weight in grams. That's a pretty good rule of thumb. Now, what may cause you to shift that? So the more active you are and the more stressed you are, the more protein you're going to need. So think about it, right? You're more sedentary, less stress. You don't need the extra amino acids to turn over the muscle. You're not breaking it down, right? Your body's going to need more protein based on muscle turnover. So you're lifting weights, you're breaking down your muscle, you're going to need more amino acids from your diet to turn that over. You're more stressed, your body may be going into gluconeogenesis, maybe utilizing more of your protein for glucose fuel. Also, the more stressed you are, your body just tends to be more catabolic anyway, meaning you're breaking stuff down, you're breaking protein down. So on the lower side, less lifting, less emotional, physical stress, keep it at that 0.5, 0.4 grams per pound of body weight, right? 200-pound person, you're looking at like 90 to 100 grams on the low end. Now, depending on how much you're lifting, you're doing longer workouts, you definitely want to be at 1 gram per pound of body weight every day. Is a pretty good rule of thumb, especially when you are lifting. Now, utilizing amino acids can be very beneficial, partly because the thermic effect of food, so that's the amount of energy that you burn in breaking protein down. It's around, I mean, you can find things saying 30 to 50%. So let's go with the low end. It's like a 30% transaction fee. It's like using your credit card and having a 30% additional fee on top of that. That's a lot, right? And so if you consume 100 grams of protein, you may only be getting access to 70 on the upper end because of the energy that goes into breaking that protein down. That protein essentially is being used in part of the breakdown process. And so the benefit of adding in supplemental amino acids in a protein shake form is that you're getting amino acids where that transaction fee now is way smaller because you don't have to break it down. A lot of times these amino acids will be in a more peptide-like form. So think of proteins as the pearl necklace. Think of the individual pearls when you break them up. That's like the peptide, right? You're taking the necklace, you're breaking it down to the individual pearls. It's in a peptide-like form, and now it's much easier to break down and absorb, and also the speed. And so the benefit of doing an amino acid shake, 30 grams or so afterwards, wonderful to get those amino acids into your muscles fast. Not a lot of stress on the digestive system, very little thermic effect of food, and we can have a really good anabolic response because those amino acids are there and ready to be utilized for turnover in that muscle right away. And so usually post-workout wise, 30 grams of protein is pretty good. I'd say 30 to 40. Typically when you're consuming animal protein, about 4 ounces is going to be about 25 to 30 grams of protein. You're looking at about 6 to 7 grams of protein per ounce, right in that area. And so like one egg, maybe 6 or 7 grams of protein, depending if it's a large or extra large egg, 6 to 8 maybe. And so that gives you a pretty good idea of what you should be doing. And so usually 30 grams of protein per meal is pretty good because that gets you about 90 grams a day. So if you're a 200-pound person on the low end, that may be just barely there. As a woman, 130, 140 pounds, that may be good on the higher end. And so you just have to adjust that. And so very simple, a guy like my size, 6'2", 210, 220 pounds. So I may be doing in the morning, typically just 30 grams of collagen, 20 to 30 grams of collagen in my coffee, good fat. Keep the carbs very low. I try to be more ketogenic in the morning. I may have an egg or a piece of sausage. So, in that 20 to 40 grams of protein is pretty good. I'll do a little bit more at lunch, and it depends on my activity level. I may have a bigger dinner, typically some kind of meat, some kind of a vegetable, and then I'll adjust the starch. If I'm getting 15,000 steps a day and I'm doing a little bit of lifting, then I'll always adjust a little bit of the carbs upward based on how I feel, based on my energy, based on my sleep. All those things may factor in. But just kind of recap, rule of thumb, how much protein should you have a day? I kind of gave you the milligrams or the grams per kilogram, right? That 0.8 to 1.2. So 0.8 to 1.2, that's like 0.35 to about 0.4 grams per pound of body weight. That's the low end. So my spectrum is about 0.4 on the low end, all the way up to 0.4 grams per pound of body weight on the low end to about 1 gram per pound of body weight. So 1 gram is 200-pound person, 200 grams of protein. 0.4 for that 200-pound person would be about 90 grams of protein. That just gives you kind of a rough estimate or so, 80 to 90 on the low end. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, do what feels best. I always recommend go into your exercise routine and try to do what feels best. If you're exercising daily and lifting, you'd want to start probably at a minimum of around 0.6 to 0.7 at a minimum. And then as you go, then you can always adjust based on soreness, your recovery the next day, new movements. That's a kind of a good rule of thumb out of the gates. All right, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, please let me know. Put your comments down below. Again, if you want to reach out, you want to dive in deeper, my link down below where you can reach out and we can look at protein and helping your anabolic metabolism be optimized. Also, let's not forget, Just because you're eating protein, if you have gut issues, gut inflammation, low stomach acid, gut bugs, H. pylori, parasite infections, you may not be breaking down and absorbing and assimilating those proteins optimally. So if you're eating and you're still having problems with being anabolic, healing, getting stronger, putting on muscle, recovering, that may be an issue. And you may have to look at the gut, look at your digestive enzymes and acids, look at the gut bugs deeper as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you did, let me know. Any other questions, guys? Let me know. Here, I think we answered all the major questions out of the gate. All right, y'all, have a phenomenal day. Take care. Share with friends and family. Bye.